Children, we have already discussed how to write a user-defined function and how to write a function called statement for the user-defined function that we have written. Now we are going to understand how to write the complete Python program using user-defined function with the user-defined function. Okay, so we can write a complete Python program with a user-defined function when you know the structure of a Python program. Okay, what is the general structure of a Python program when you are using a user-defined function? Okay, so the structure is this. Okay, that is def function 1, def function 2, def function 3. That is, so here they are trying to say that if you are using a user defined function, all the function definition should appear at the beginning of the program. That should be the first, that should be defined first before you write the actual Python program. Okay, so that is what it means here. Okay, so whatever may be the number of user defined function, all the definitions you please write it first, right? Okay, so after writing the all the definitions, then you can write a top level statements. So what do you mean by top level statements? So the top level statements are nothing but the statements which will be executed first while executing your Python program. Okay, so that is the statements which has been written without any indentation. Those are all top level statements. Okay, so in those statements you have to write the function called statement to make use of the functions function 1, function 2, function 3. Okay, so this is your structure. Okay, so how you have to write? First, on the top, first write your all the function definitions, then you write the top level statements, so to make use of those function and the rest of the task that you wanted to do. Okay, so these top level statements by default it is given a name as underscore main. Okay, normally in other programming languages such as C and C++, we will explicitly write the function name as main. That is, if you write a C or C++ program, there must be a function void main. Okay, we will be writing a function main, so the execution of the particular program, it will start with main. Okay, but here in Python we do not write, we do not give any such name explicitly. However, internally it will be stored like that only. That is, all the top level statements. Okay, so it will be given a name as underscore main. So here in Python also, the execution, it will start from main. That is, main program we call it as, or it will start from main. Okay, the execution starts from top level statements. That is, from the main program the execution starts. Okay, now look at this particular example. So here I have used two functions. Both the functions we have already discussed. Okay, so the first function is calc expression to evaluate 2x squared. Okay, this function we have you already know that. So greeting function just to display a greeting message. So these two are function definition. Okay, after writing a function definition, so these are all the top level statements. Okay, so when you execute the program, so the execution, it will start from here, that is from the top level statement. Okay, what is the execution order, what is the flow of control, we will be discussing in the next session. So just understand that these are all top level statement. So here what I have written function call statement greeting. So when you do this, the greeting function gets called and it will execute the statements under that. What are all the statements? Hello all, and then welcome to e-learning. So these two statements gets executed, and that is what you get the output. Okay, so and then print for x value 1, the result calc expression of 1. So these, what is this calc exp of 1? This is a function call statement to call the function calc expression, and you're calling the expression with the value 1. Okay, so when you call the expression with the value, call the function with the value 1, so what is the output? So 2. Okay, so it will return the value, so you will be able to use it within the another statement. Okay, so here you are calling the function calc expressions being called once, twice and then thrice. Okay, so you will be getting the output. Okay, your execution starts from your top level statement. Whenever there is a function called statement, it will go back to the definition and it gets executed. Okay, so this is how you have to write your complete Python program with the user defined function. Children, the next topic that we are going to understand is flow of execution. What is flow of execution? The flow of execution refers to the order in which statements are executed during a program run. Okay, so flow of execution refers to the order in which statements are executed. Okay, so I have number of statements in my program. So when there are number of statements, in which order it gets executed. Okay, so you should understand it very clearly. Why you need to understand flow of execution? First, in your question paper, Python question paper, there will be questions to find the output. To find the output of a given program, you should be able to execute them manually. To execute them manually, you should know the execution order, that is the order in which the statements are executed. Only then you will be able to understand, you will be able to give the answer to that question. Okay, and for writing the programs, okay, so while writing the program also you need to know, okay, how the statements are executed. Only then you will be able to write correct programs, right? Okay, so here is an example. There are two examples given for a reason. Okay, so here I have given the line numbers. These are all 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. These are all the line numbers for the program. Okay, so def calc sum, okay, x comma y. So I'm just getting the val calc sum. This is the name of the function x comma y. These are all the parameters to the function. So it will just add the two numbers and then it will return the value. Okay, so as I already told you, so when you write a program, the program starts with the execution of top level statements. Okay, so which is the top level statement? So the top level statement is here. Okay, so it is num1 is equal to int of input of enter number 1. Okay, so first it gets executed. Okay, so the first it gets executed. Okay, so and then number 2, that is line number 5, it gets executed, and then sum is equal to calc sum of num1 comma num2. Okay, so when there is a statement which contains function called statement, so calc sum of num1 comma num2, so this is a function called statement. Okay, so during the execution, when there is a function called statement, the control will be transferred to the place where the function definition has been written. So when we are learning about function, one thing you have to understand very clearly. So even though these statements are executed in the first 3 lines of my program, these lines it will not get executed. Okay, only the header of the function gets executed, okay, while it start executing the program. That is the order, that is the rule. Okay, so when it starts the execution, first line it will read the first line. What is the first line? It starts with def. So when it starts with the def, it will just read the that is, it will first execute the header of the file, function header. So after executing first line, it will switch to the place where the top level statements begin with. Okay, so these are all the guidelines for program execution. So we will discuss it one by one. Okay, so when there is a function definition, only the header gets executed. After executing the header, so immediately the control will be transferred to a place where the top level statements begin with. Okay, so that's why here I have mentioned the line numbers. Okay, the order in which the statements gets executed. First it will execute the function header number 1. So after that it will come to top level statements, which is 4, 5 and 6. Okay, while executing 6, there is a function call statement. So when there is a function call statement, the control will be transferred to a place where the function definition has been written. So these two statements, res is equal to x plus y, written res, these statements gets executed only when there is a function call statement. I repeat, the function definition gets executed only when there is a function call statement. So here there is a function call statement. When there is a function call statement, the control will be transferred to the place where the function definition has written. Okay, so here the function definition starts here, so it will come to the first line once again, and then it will execute the body of the statement, and then after executing the last statement, it will come back to the place where the function has been called. Okay, since it is a written statement, it will come back to the same statement where the execution has stopped, that is in the from the top level statements, right? Okay, so it will come back to the same line. So calc sum of num1 comma num2. Now this particular statement, it will be replaced with the result. Okay, whatever the value that you give, so both the values that will be added, whatever the result that you are getting, if you are passing 10 comma 20, then 30 is the result. Okay, so 30 will be the value, 30 will be substituted with this value and it will be assigned to sum. Okay, after executing the last statement, okay, it will come back to the place where the function execution, that is the top level statements, stopped its execution. Okay, so after 6 it is it will again come back to 1, 2 and then 3. After executing 1, 2, 3, so it will execute the remaining statements, that is so 6 that needs to be executed because there is a assignment is pending, so that will be assigned and then it will continue with the next statement, which is your seventh statement. So for this particular program, it will start from 1, 4, 5, 6. So while executing 6, it will go back to 1, 2 and then 3, and then after executing the last statement, so it will come back and then it will execute 6 and 7. Okay, so this is how the order of execution of this particular program, right? Before we get into the second example, okay, we will go through the guidelines, okay, for a reason. Okay, so let us go through the guidelines one by one. First, always begins with the first statement. Okay, so when you write a program, it will start with the first statement, whatever you have written. The second guideline is comment lines are ignored or not executed. Okay, how will you write the comment lines? What do you mean by comment lines? Comment lines are nothing but the instruction written by the programmer for the programmer, and it will be start with hash. Okay, so there are a number of ways. Okay, so if it is a comment line, then it will be ignored, it will not be executed at all, it will not be executed at all. If the first line is here are written as a comment line, that it will not be executed, that is in the execution order you will not get that number, right? Okay, that is what it means. So if it is always begin with the first statement, correct, but if it is a comment line, then it will be ignored, whatever may be the number of lines. So the third one is, if it is a function header, then executes only the function header. Okay, so if it is a function header, how it will get to know it is a function header? It will start with the keyword def. Okay, so in that case it will execute up to this colon, and the body of the statement it not get executed. The function body not executed until it is called. Okay, so the function body, it will be executed only when you write a function call statement. Okay, that is the reason why. So earlier I have told you, if you are planning to use user defined function, there must be a function definition and function call statement, both must be there in your program. So next, a function can define another function inside function body. However, the inner function gets executed only only when outer function is called, that is, so however we write nested loop, okay. So inside the function definition you can define another function, okay. So yes, that is possible. So even in that case, okay, the inner function will also be get executed only when you call the outer function, yes, right. Only when you get into the body, then you will be able to understand whatever written inside the body. If it is, even though it is a function, so that gets executed only when you call the outer function. When a code contains a function call, Python jumps to function header and then to first line of the body and so on, okay. When a code contains function call, okay, so here there is a function call statement. So if there is a function call statement, it will go to the header. So what is the function name? It is calcsum. So it will go to the function header with the name calcsum. So after that, from the first line onwards, it will start executing. So the next guideline is the function execution ends with the return statement or last statement of the function body, whichever occurs earlier. Okay. So it is not necessary that every function must have a return statement. You can also look at this particular function. This is also calcsum, but this particular function does not have a return statement. We also studied that the function may or may not return any value, right, okay. So if it is a return statement, if there is a return statement, the execution stops with the return statement, or if it is a last statement, the function execution stops with the last statement of the function, right, okay. Then if the function returns a value, if there is a return statement in a function, then control will jump back to function call statement. Then control will jump back to function call statement, okay. So here in this particular function, this function return a value, so it will come back to the function call statement. Why? So here this particular calcsum should be replaced with the value that it has been returned. So after executing the return statement, again it will come back to the sixth statement, okay. While executing sixth statement only, I came to know that there is a function call statement. From 6 I went to line number 1, 1 2 3 I have executed. After executing line number 3, I will come back to sixth statement once again this time. So it is having some value, this value gets substituted and sum is equal to whatever, if it is an expression whatever, this line again executed once again with the value of this evaluated function, okay. It will come back to the same line from where it gets executed, gets transferred, okay. That is what it says. If the function returns a value, then control will jump back to the function call statement, okay. So the next one is the function does not return any value, okay. If there is no return value, if there is no return statement, then control will jump back to the line following the function call statement. After the function call statement, whatever the line, it will come back to this line, right, okay. So here I'm having calcsum, okay. So calcsum, it will go to the function header, okay. So after which, so it will come back to the line following the function call statement, okay. So it is it's by mistake. So num2 it should come here, calcsum it should come it will come as the sixth line. So after that it will come back to the, it will not come to the fifth line, okay. It will actually come back to the seventh line, okay. The same line, it will not come back, it will come back to the next line, okay. So here the execution order is 1, it will read the function header, next it will come to number 1, next it's supposed to be num2, it's supposed to be the statement 5. So num2 gets executed and then calcsum, it should appear after this as a sixth statement. So 4 5 6. So after that, so there is a function call statement, the control will be transferred to the place, okay. So it will execute 1 2 3. After executing 1 2 3, after the function call statement, okay. So here I come back to the same statement function call statement. So here I will come to the next statement after the function call. Next statement after the function call. Okay. So these are all the guidelines. You have to keep it in your mind while executing the program manually. Okay. So determining the flow of execution on paper, it is called as tracing the program. Okay. Tracing or going through or executing the program. Okay. So we are saying that it is executing manually. So it is otherwise called as tracing the program.